This mission is about team agreements. Team agreements, rules about how we interact as a team, particularly when we are gathered for brainstorming and decision making, have a big impact on the quality of thinking, collaboration, and ultimately on our team's decisions. As Nancy Klein said, the quality of everything we do depends upon the quality of the thinking we do first. If you are not conscious about your team meeting agreements, your team may be governed by unspoken rules and subject to common team meeting patterns that produce suboptimal outcomes. These are some of the most common problems that unspoken team meeting rules run the risk of creating. The most senior person in the room dominates the meeting, and thinking is limited to fall in line with their opinion. Or the most talkative people dominate the conversation, seizing outside influence based solely on their extroversion. And introverts do not contribute, missing valuable input from some of the most thoughtful people on the team. Groupthink then seeps into decision making. Dissenting ideas and perspectives are not welcomed. Finally, people might tend to engage in either-or arguments, promoting ego-driven competing ideas rather than reaching for both-and collaborative solutions. Let's look at how good team meeting agreements can avoid these common problems. All teams benefit from explicit rules of engagement. These thinking team agreements from the book Time to Think by Nancy Klein are particularly aligned with a team coaching approach. However, any rules that establish fair and transparent process that demonstrate respect and appreciation and encourage candor will work. We encourage you to come up with your own team meeting and coaching principles for your own teams and then stick to them. Structures and principles like these create psychological safety. They support trust, collaborative problem solving, and candor. Beginning meetings with everyone taking a turn sharing what is going well sets a positive tone and puts team members in a receptive toward state. Agreeing to refrain from interrupting helps the introverts be heard and allows people the psychological safety and space they know when they know they have time to express their ideas fully and completely without fear of being cut off. Permission to call out assumptions by encouraging incisive questions allows people to name potential blind spots and expand clarity in an agreeable way. Breaking into pairs to help regain momentum when the group is stuck expands the amount of creative dialogue going on in the room. Periodically making sure everyone gets a turn to share keeps the conversation balanced and helps make sure every voice has a chance to be heard. Rules about sharing truth and information safeguard the human tendency to deal in opinion and assumption. Permission to share feelings is equally important, to allow people to speak up if they feel important values and principles are at risk of being violated. Ending meetings by sharing what went well and what we respect in each other activates the often overlooked need to express appreciation and celebrate progress. As part of this mission, we're going to ask you to try these team meeting agreements out in your next meeting to see how they can boost collaboration and team problem solving. Now, let's look at team agreements for ad hoc teams. If you have ever been part of a cross-functional team that was put together to solve an organizational problem, or if you've ever worked on a committee formulated from members of different organizations, you've likely experienced the pain of ad hoc teams who jump into their work before deciding on how they want to work together. They are the same problems we discussed that face operational teams without clear team agreements. The most senior person dominates the meetings and thinking, along with the most talkative people, leading to groupthink. Introverts do not contribute, and their ideas and efforts are diminished. Often, they are assigned to minor administrative roles. Dissenting ideas and perspectives are not welcomed. Diversity of thought is stifled. In ad hoc teams, unspoken agreements lead to suboptimal results, just like in operational teams. A best practice for teams that come together to work on specific projects within a specific time frame is to create a simple team charter. In addition to team agreements about how work will be done together and how meetings will be held, it can be helpful to agree on a few other items. The most obvious is to agree on the team's goals, outcomes, and deliverables. Less obvious, but of value, is to consider how to use the opportunity to meet personal learning goals of the team members, leverage team member strengths, agree on team roles and role rotations, and more. We encourage you to create a team charter whenever you are asked to serve on an important ad hoc team. We highly recommend Nancy Kline's book on the topic of how to get the best thinking out of teams. There are nuances you can glean from reading the source material that are well worth the effort. For your on-the-job coaching practice, we want you to hold a team meeting or problem-solving session using the principles and structures covered in this module. Have fun experimenting with team agreements.